Okay, this session is being recorded. Behave yourselves.
Okay, I have to stop cussing.
Okay.
Kristy,
No, cussing is allowed. You need to stay, Kristy, you need to stay in camera.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not.
Come over here with us. Why are you doing that?
What are you doing over there?
Everybody's over here.
Meatball.
Sorry.
You said the meatball.
Yeah, okay. No, you can be.
No, that's what we're
You'll hear me, I promise.
We'll bingo. Okay, so thank you so much. I know this is a little chaotic, but that's the fun of Esports is it's organized chaos. So we're here with a bunch of teachers, and we're going to be going through how to start in the Esports League in your school. So I was able to wrangle up a bunch of teachers here from varying grades, from high school to middle school to even some that have gone above and beyond. So this is going to be a really exciting session on how to start, and we're going to get lots of different perspectives. And based on, and this is going to be an interactive session because we thought, okay, well, we were just going to do a canned presentation, but it's like, well, you can just watch a webinar for that. But if it's interactive, that's why we're here in person, right? To interact, to ask questions, to talk to these people and whatnot. So my name is Nai Wang, and I do a lot of stuff in gamification, education, using artificial intelligence. Did a gamified math program, culinary arts program. And I'm right now on the leading edge of building a publishing platform to allow the teachers to be able to publish in the gamified platform using a collaborative system across the entire country so that they're building the best and also become authors and get paid royalties. Woo! So completely breaking the traditional publishing model where we're doing it in such a way that it's 5 times the standard going rate of what publishers give. So, why not? Anyway, so that's what I do. Anybody here been to any of our sessions? So I know a bunch of us have spoken, so we got some repeats here, Thank you very much for coming back. I know during our sessions in the past, we had a lot of great questions about esports. Esports was a big focus at Making Schools Work. About 5 years ago, they came to me. I've been speaking at Making Schools Work for about 10 years then. Yes, thank you very much for the useful and I speak about technology, so they came to me and said, hey, what's this esports thing we're hearing about? I'm like, oh my gosh, it's the next best thing. We've got to do it at the next conference. So from 2018 to 2019, we spent all this time planning and getting things ready. And then we're going to go make this huge blowout in 2020. It's going to be so exciting. We're going to introduce teachers to esports for the first time ever. Well, anyway, 2022, we're introducing teachers to esports now for the first time ever. So I'm super excited because this is 4 years in the making for myself, and we got these wonderful volunteers here who have graciously volunteered their time to come and share their knowledge with you. They actually helped us organize the esports arena that I hope some of you got a chance to see. And doing this with kids playing, and we did through some mock tournaments together so you could actually see kind of what a gaming environment would be like if you were to actually do it or go to a tournament. So just kind of give you some exposures, and if we get really good feedback from you all, we might do it again next year in New Orleans. So, not New Orleans, Orlando, the other place.
Yes, please say like we want to go to Orlando.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So this is going to be a fun interactive session, and we're going to be all together on this journey because esports is new. Although 3 years ago it was very new. Now it's still very new, but the pandemic has really spurred it on even further. So now we're kind of getting into hopefully a more mature stage of esports now because we actually got some more organization, and Kristy and Michaela will speak to that. So I want to see who's here. So with the raise of hand, any elementary school teachers here? Oh, cool, we got elementary. That is going to be really cool to see how that goes. All right, middle school or junior high school here. All right, 1, 2, okay, 3, 4, okay, break. All right, high school teachers.
Yeah, legal. All right, legal right here.
All right, and then we come here to, oops, I hit the back. All right. All right, any higher ed? Any higher ed here? Okay, didn't think so. I have to include it. Oh yeah, just in case, adult ed? All right. Any administrators here? All right, cool. All right, so just a quick question from you as an administrator, what are you looking for in esports?
Last week, my computer science teacher told me, we're going to start doing esports.
Okay.
And I said, what's that? He said, I don't have time to tell you. So.
And that person was correct.
Yeah, we're going to connect. Don't worry.
some money is all, you know.
Yeah.
Do me a favor, give them the money, just don't ask questions. No, anyway, sorry.
All right, yeah.
I work at a career and technical school, so it's a high school, and we're looking to start esports program, so, or after school meeting, something, esports for our school. We have 16 districts that feed into it.
Oh, cool. And you're interested, are your teachers interested in it?
Yes.
Okay, good.
We have teachers that are interested in it, and then we also have some of our member schools that feed into it have their own esports leagues. So
Oh.
we'd like to have one that some of the other schools don't have, and I think exists.
Mhm.
That's kind of
Great. And then you,
Just want to learn more about it. We're going to start eSport, actually hire coaches for our schools.
awesome. All right, great. I was curious because like, administrators all have different ideas and that's why I was asking. All right, really quick here, what esports level are you? So raise your hand if you know absolutely nothing about esports. Okay, cool. All right, the next level.
You do.
Yeah, so you know a little about it and you're curious and exploring. Okay, great. Okay, next level. You're a total noob. You're getting started and you have no idea what you're doing and you're just running around like a chicken with your head cut off. All right, no noobs in here. Last session we had someone who was in that state like, I got it going, but I don't know what's going on. Okay, just enough to be dangerous. There we go. All right, we love the dangerous people. And then any ultimate masters in here, of course.
This is a gaming injury, by the way, the mouse pad burned me.
So much mouse burning.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so-
Washington, DC.
So to introduce the panelists, we have Henry here, who is originally on our program. We had Patrick, who was going to be here, but unfortunately he had a medical emergency going on. So sorry about that.
That's good. My name is Henry Bowe. I am the Director of Computer Science at Richardson High School. And just to let you know, that's not a real title. I'm actually a school teacher, guys. I'm severely underpaid for that title, okay? And as someone pointed out over here, this back thing right here, there's a reason why it's back there. I'm not right, okay? Literally, I run everything, esports, computer science, cybersecurity, you name it. It's probably under my little thing, okay? So I've been teaching for 15 years, and I've been suffering
For 15 years?
Yeah. Esports, I've been doing it for like 5.5 years. Pretty much, I started just as high school esports league was starting. We were one semester of league, so I'm going to give you all as much information as I possibly can, as I tell a lot of people who are new to it and stuff like that. My mistakes are going to be your successes. Okay, I've tripped through everything. I don't want you to trip over the same things that I will or I have, and I'm still learning that along the way. So if you have any questions, I'm going to say make sure I make it clear. Okay. Please be unfiltered in your question. Don't butter it up with me. Don't sugar it. If you want to say something, ask it, because I will, in return, tell you exactly what's going on. So,
Thank you very much, Henry. All right, next we have Michaela.
It's me. It's Mickey.
Yeah, Mickey. I was like, I knew it by Mickey, so like, Mickey.
Yeah, all right. So Michaela, Mickey is what everybody calls me. So last year I was at middle school and I ran the esports program there. I started the esports program there, and then this year I will be an esports teacher. It is very, very new in my district and high school, and I'm going to help them build up the esports program there. I've been teaching for 6 years. I've been gaming my entire life, but and I've done some esports things here and there. So like I have that experience of it, and I've been coaching esports for 2 years.
Mm-hmm. And especially for the middle school level, you have to treat esports differently than the high school level. So, and sometimes you have to treat the high schoolers like the middle schoolers too. Right? All right. So next we have wait, there we go. Avon.
So my name is Avon Bateman. I'm from Gladewater ISD. I'm the Director of Technology there. And it was one of those things, just like what some of these guys will tell you, that it was just a big passion of mine. So with just a little bit of, yeah, you can do that, then I just took it and 4 years ago started esports at Gladewater. And again, same like Henry said, any questions you want answered, please don't filter them. Be as direct and honest as you can, and we will do our absolute best to give you all the information you can.
Very good. And then we have Michael.
Yeah, I'm Michael Russell. I have been gaming my whole life, as probably most of these folks up here have been. I've been in competitive gaming, what we call esports now, probably since late 1999, 2000, somewhere in there, with StarCraft and Warcraft 3. So it's always been a passion of mine. About, it's probably 8 years ago now, I started working at Complete High School in Maize, the alternative school in Maize, and was fortunate enough to have somebody who's much smarter than I am hire me and let me do this crazy esports thing. So we started our own lab. I was the coach of the team, started teaching a 4-credit course during the day. We, not all of our kids, but half of our kids took. And during that time, we started to work with HSEL, Generation Esports, which is who we work for now. And they've been around since 2012. And our program started at our school, like I said, about 6 years ago. And yeah, so like you said, we're here to teach you all, get over all the pitfalls that we've already made, so you can have a much smoother experience and not have to go through all those things like we did. So
Very good. Speaking of the person who hired you.
yeah.
Good.
So, Kristy Custer, I get to be the old dog up here. I've been in education for 24 years. I was 12 years as a teacher. I was a high school English / journalism teacher, and then I became a high school principal at an alternative school. And I was at the alternative school for 20 years. The average alternative school person lasts 3 to 5, so what does that say about me? And I do not like video games. I don't play video games. I don't like video games.
Nice face just went.
But we had one of the first video game curriculum and teams and in school at our school because I love people who love video games. And I have 3 kids. They're 18, 16, and 9. And so daily I fight about screen time. And I know this, in 24 years in education, I've never seen a silver bullet like esports has been. And I'm in the alternative school. And so as administrators, I know what that looks like. And I know what it feels like when everybody's looking at you going, why do you want kids to play more video games? They play enough video games. And so we backed it with data. It brings kids to school. And that was my #1 objective at our school was attendance. It was all about attendance. You tell me, give me some data that something's going to bring kids to school, and then I'm bringing it to our school. And that's what it was all about for us, was attendance. And so my objective for whenever I go anywhere is to normalize esports in school and make this look like school for all of your stakeholders that are saying kids already play too many video games.
Very good. Yeah, so we have a very good diverse cross-section of people here, from administrator to middle school teacher to random Asian guy with colorful hair. There we go. So the thing is, like, we're all passionate about what we do, and I'm just passionate about gaming and engaging kids. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to this slide. So this section is being recorded, and all the resources and information that's related to esports. And if you're interested in any of the other sessions that I put on, if you go to this website, you'll fill out a form. It just asks for your email, what sessions you you attended or want to know about, and we'll send you the information. And I promise you, that will be the only email I'll ever send, unless if you reply, then I may respond to that if I feel like it. But yeah. So this is just like information. We're just trying to get this information out there to you. So if you go to kpkp.com, that would take you to a form, and then you would then be able to do that. So let's go ahead and advance to the next slide. Let's go. All right, so this is all about you guys. So if you guys have questions, raise your hand and answer it. If you don't have questions, I'm going to go to death by PowerPoint. So you don't want me to do that. All right, anybody have questions here? Any questions?
So I'm new to the whole thing. So exactly what is esports? I mean, what is the whole?
Perfect.
I'm brand new to this.
Oh, yeah, that's a hard question. I can't answer
I'm an elementary school teacher. It's something I think that I could get to motivate. I mean, I'm in a low-income school. Our test scores are down, but I think this is something that we could use, especially for our 5th and 6th graders, to enhance that. And, get them motivated. Sports motivated me, and video games now seem to take away a lot.
So this is a very deep topic, so we want to be brief about it.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you can go on and on about what is esports.
It's just competitive gaming. That's all it is. Sweet. There are select a few games where we would call traditional, like they're just the mainstream games, stuff like that. But since you're on there, I think they're a little bit too young to play those games due to their grade and stuff like that. But I can use it simple. You can make Pac-Man esports. You just do the high score, stuff like that. That's all it is. But then you guys games are like 1v1, 2v2, 3v2, and so on. So that's all.
Minecraft,
For elementary school, Minecraft, and I'm very sure most of your kids will play Minecraft.
They play Minecraft, Roblox.
Yep.
Yeah, I wouldn't do Roblox because there is esports before Roblox, but I wouldn't go that route. Minecraft is probably the safer route, and there are a couple of like Minecraft specifically for like elementary school students up there too. And there's like build challenges that they do I think once or twice a year that are really perfect for them. It's creative and it's competitive at the same time. You know, they spend time like crafting and building things, and it's a lot of fun.
Can we add 2 pieces to this?
Oh, yeah, go right ahead.
Just because I'm trying to normalize, like you guys are trying to normalize this in school, it's just some vocabulary to get through, maybe to some of your stakeholders, is if we could expand esports into scholastic gaming, and that competitive piece is what everybody thinks about when they think of esports, but there's 2 other pieces. There's that scholastic piece, that's typically happens during the school day for credit, your elementary kids, because it grabs kids. We're not teaching kids how to play video games, we're using video games to hook the kids. And then there's another piece that's my favorite piece, and it's the social part of esports, where kids may or may not like to play video games, but they want to be involved in something. And so those kids might be it's like a manager on a football team. They want to be part of the football team, but they're not enough to play football. And so there's that social piece also, where they could be the manager, they could be the social media person on the team, they can put up the flyers on the team, they can organize the shoutcasting, the broadcasting. They might not even play video games, but they love the culture.
Yeah, and that's a very good important aspect of it. It's not just about video games, it's building a community.
And it's not always just about the player.
Right.
There's a whole background involved.
And in gaming in general is about community. Every game has a community around it. You know, I may not know everything about Minecraft, but if my kids want to play Minecraft, I know that there's a community out there that I can reach out and I can ask questions. And there is a community of gamers. We are I think by nature we're a lot of loners, but so that's why we gravitate toward each other and we build a community and we connect with each other that way.
Very good. Any other questions?
Okay, so I'm one that don't know anything about it. Other than I'm a high school athletic director, and I know through NFHS, National Federation of High Schools, you know, our South Carolina High School League put out a question to ADs and stuff about, hey, do any of y'all start to offer, what's the stuff about esports? That conference is next week for us in South Carolina. Man, so hopefully I just learned something. I know I learned a lot now, because I thought, okay, it's just playing like Madden or something like that. I ain't know it's even other games. I don't play games since Atari or the first PlayStation way back in the day.
That's right.
But do I have to be any good at it to help the kids or anything?
You can look at this as 2 ways. There's a coach and then there's a manager. So a coach is the person that does their absolute best to learn as much about the game. That's why I always told my players that showed up, my students, is that, hey, look, I'm more so a manager. My job is to help facilitate this thing. To set up and coordinate for you to get connected to another school so that we can have some competition. And to make sure that they show up on time and that they're going to start practicing. That is a coaching element, but I don't necessarily have to know the game, because I can just point them in places to just a little bit of research. Hey, inside this one game, Rocket League, for example, there are ways for you to practice without having to play against other people, so that we focus on that. And you can see a clear difference from one player that started, and then 2 weeks later that they've been practicing every session. There's a lot of improvement. Again, like him would tell you, you can't take a swimmer that's 6 feet 5 inches tall and say, you're tall, you're now playing basketball. So if someone doesn't like a particular game, I wouldn't force them into it. It won't work.
So, do you know who Gary Jones is by any chance? Do you know who Gary Jones is? Do you know what I'm That's my role, okay? I literally, I just own the team. I can tell the kids I own you all. No, I do. I have to. Well, I don't have to, but because I'm in charge of the finances that pays them over here, okay? Because we're in a lot of different leagues and stuff like that. So essentially when I say, why you guys losing, because I'm you're all going to pay to lose, because I do know a lot about the games. I'm familiar with the aspects of this and that, but I do not coach these kids and tell them how their strategy is because every single game they play has a different kind of concept to it. So, yeah, that's not your job to micromanage kids. In fact, on our particular organization, the students are their own coaches, they are their own managers, they take care of everything. So I'm like, all right, hands off. The more hands-on as us than we are, the more they feel like they're being overwhelmed and being told what to do. So we let them figure out their own problems. Again, the social aspect, you're giving kids to problem solve. You want to problem solve, right? Because this is our future generation. Yeah, they're going to problem solve their own thing. Okay, they actually work themselves out and like, okay, cool. The only time we have to really interject is if it needs, well, as we say, I need an adult. Okay, so we come in and we go, all right, what do we need? Okay, we need money. No, I mean, that's pretty much the job of the sponsor is to make sure everything runs smoothly and paperwork. My students reduce the paperwork.
It's a, oh, sorry.
Well, could you break down the roles of the managers and the coaches? Like, what is the role of each one?
Okay, so, well,
You
I'll do it. So when I was, I guess we'll call it the manager, I was the director, coach, whatever you want to call it. The high level, we used player coaches for all of our games, so it gave them a great opportunity to be leaders. They would do the research on what we call the meta, like what's going on in the game. That meta changes frequently, depending on what's happening. So they were the ones who really kept up on like the strategy of the game. My role, as you mentioned, was make sure we paid to be in the league and make sure they're practicing and setting up the practices, make sure they get to their match on time. They know when the match is, that was more the administrative functions of it, but the actual gameplay, our team, we competed in Overwatch, and I happened to be very good at Overwatch, but I didn't coach it, like per se, because I didn't know even as much as my kids did. They were the ones that did one couple in particular, they would research everything and be like, okay, the meta shift last week, we're gonna change to this strategy, we're gonna use a dive comp instead of what we're used to do. I mean, just different terms you'll hear a lot, but so that's the way. So you might have under your direction, you might have 3 Overwatch teams, 4 Rocket League teams, some kids who play chess, Hearthstone teams. You're overseeing all of that, but let find kids, or if you're fortunate enough to have coaches or assistant coaches that you can hire to oversee certain aspects, utilize those. But your role as this person is just to make sure everybody shows up on time and the bills get paid.
So do they give you the games beforehand so the district can, or the school can take the games?
Well, depending on what you want, so your leagues and stuff. Yeah, I mean, so like in our league, just going to speak for us, we offer like 12 titles that the teams can compete in, but the schools organize their own leagues sometimes, and so they might have a different game that they focus on. Some of the games are free, a lot of them are, but some of them are not, so that's an obstacle that in my head is you might have to purchase game license for some of those games. They're not all free, so.
Do you mind if I go back to that gentleman's question right there?
Yeah, sorry.
Do you want me to like go top down? People want to write notes. Do you want to like work top down how it works on our structure? Start with that?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So if you want to write notes on this one. So we have the lowest bottom level, we have the player, okay? The player. Okay, their job is to get good and not lose, all right? Because that's again, that's what I'm paying them for, right? Okay, that's what I'm paying them for, okay? Above that, we have team captains, okay? We have team captains that make sure, like, you might have 1, 2, 3, or 4 teams. And I'm talking about game time, I'm talking like just per team and stuff like that. Their job is to make sure that their players are ready to go, so I don't have to go, okay?
And these are students.
These are students, by the way, these are students, okay?
Right.
I haven't even gotten to adults yet, okay? So these are kids, all right? So your captain's a kid, all right? We're giving them, again, with the skills, leadership skills, right? Okay? And then up above that, we do have, okay, this is where it's going to get a little fuzzy on this one, okay? We do have some students who are overseeing like all the games, stuff like that. But I'm going to like kind of skip that level, okay? So you have your players, your team captains, and what, okay? Now let's get to the adults, okay? I do have coaches, okay? But they're teachers, okay? Their job is to make sure all the, per their game, okay? Because I don't control all the games. They just make sure their particular game, the kids are okay. So we have a teacher that makes sure that League of Legends is okay. We have a teacher that makes sure Overwatch is okay. And then Mario Kart and stuff like that, whatever it might be, okay? So they answer them, okay? And then we're talking about like coaches and like that. Like we actually have to find external coaches, whether through a company or through a mutual friend or something like that, someone who's actually good at the game. Because there's a lot of, again, concept of these games that we don't know and we can't help them with, okay? So they're coaches. And then finally, you got your person who's like me, who's managing all that kind of stuff right there, okay? So I didn't want to muddle up with like, we have other students in there who control like social media, who control like the Instagram and stuff like that, but that's our structure right there. We gotta make sure like, it feels like micromanaging, it kind of is, but we are still trying to hands off. The only thing that I try to make sure I do, this is something I do, because it's a personal thing, okay? I do actually oversee everything. I watch their games. I want to see how they're doing and stuff like that. I'm not going to go, okay guys, can you tell me what's going on? I'm not blind to what my kids are doing. I go to every single game I humanly can, because I want to feel the stress, you know?
You're so bored, you have nothing else to do.
No.
I want to add something here though, because of just the crowd
Can I
we
interject
have.
really quick before?
Yeah.
Because I think Henry needs to set his contact, so you don't need to do that.
Okay, I thought that's what I was gonna do.
No, Henry,
Yeah.
Henry, tell them how many people are in your league, so,
How many people in my program?
in your program,
We
yeah.
have over 211 kids that I took on my Discord, and about 110 that are active right now.
So, his is a very
They really don't
mature,
clarify the structure though,
Yeah.
of those roles. So they-
yeah. His is a very mature program, you probably don't need to have.
Yeah, he's year 5.
Yeah.
Year 0,
Yeah, here's-
kids, sponsor.
I mean,
That's it,
seriously,
yeah.
seriously.
Well,
But, so even at the middle school level,
Yeah.
or like a lower level, or like a smaller team, not like 200 kids team,
Yeah.
I had like 20 players on my team. But what you do want, so like you are not really coach, because you're not coaching them at the game. You can, if that is the game that you are good at and you know about, but you're more like an organizer. You know, you want to make sure that like you organize, like, you know, what team is where, on what day, what game they want to play. You know, if they come to you like, I want to play this, I'm like, okay, you know, I'm going to set it up, make sure that like, you know, we have enough people, we have enough equipment. If we don't have equipment, what are we going to do? Are we playing at home, are we playing at school? So your job is to make them able to play and compete in the games that they want to compete. And what I also found very helpful too, like he said, is find a captain, one kid to be in charge of like, you know, either a game or a team, and that kid will help wrangle all the kids, the other player, make sure like, oh, this person is not here today. You know, I'm like, okay, go find a sub, and he will go find someone to sub in. So you do want the kids to take ownership of their game, their competition, their team. But you have to find that one kid that you know that's going to be responsible and that can own up, step up, and be like the captain of that team.
Yeah.
I would suggest, and this may not be the popular opinion up here, but I would suggest you start with 1 or 2 games just to start your program, because if you start with 10, you're going to be overwhelmed quickly.
Wow,
So I
I
would
should
start-
have advised years ago.
Yeah, I would say 1 or 2 at the most, like just to get used to all the things that are going to happen. Because
I
it's-
agree. I agree.
You're going through your mistakes.
Told you. Just to give you an idea of what he's saying, when we first started, there was only HSCL and then the other company.
Yeah.
Okay, so I get, but there are a lot of companies now. We are in 4 different leagues, almost 5 different leagues. We had drop 1 and we play 12 games. So you can see why, but that's, again, the difference between the mature one and the new one. So.
Awesome. Boy,
I'm not going to be doing this at my school. I'm just here to get information from my friend who's a teacher. So do you have a game that you would recommend that would be a great game to start with?
Rocket League.
What is it?
Rocket League, I would say it's probably the easiest one. It works on almost everything. So, and it's also cross-platform. That means if you're on a Nintendo, it would work on a PlayStation, on a
Soccer with
PC.
cars is what.
Yeah, soccer.
Yeah, soccer.
And it's E-rated.
Yeah.
So it's not even E10, it's E-rated.
Yeah, soccer. Yeah, you can do it on your phone. And the best part of it, it's free.
Yeah, it's free.
Yeah, absolutely free.
Is it Rocket League?
Rocket League.
Yeah.
It's just literally soccer with cars.
Yeah,
It
soccer.
is
But the cars are able to do acrobatics because they're rocket powered.
Yeah.
They're rocket powered.
I will pull up an example of that.
It's a fun game.
I don't know what fun you do.
Athletic director in
I
West
tried.
Virginia, and where I'm kind
It's too
of
hard.
confused, doing some research on my own. There's so many different leagues, like for West Virginia, I looked up, there's Play BS, and then there's, I don't know the names of them, but how do we go about choosing, like, what's the best one, or what, I don't even know what that means, like,
We're not going to answer
Different-
that.
They can't answer that because, okay, so here's how, there's multiple recommendations, okay? Because you asked, like, what's the easiest game to go in, okay? The thing is, you can only have an esports team based off of what your kids want to play. I'm gonna say that one more time because it's like you can only have an esports program based on what games your kids can play. Because if you say I'm gonna do esports and the only game you have is Rocket League, but all the kids play Smash Brothers, that's an analogy game. You're putting swimmers on a basketball team, right? So, when choosing it, I'm gonna advertise HSEL for one reason alone. They have a lot of games. They have a lot of games, but there are some games they can't offer anymore because someone else steals it. Okay?
We're in the league back.
Okay, yeah. So there's one other company which you mentioned, okay, that only offers League of Legends. They're the only ones who offer it. They can't offer it. Don't know why. Okay, so
No, we are. Yeah, we are. He was serious.
I was serious.
you were serious.
Yeah.
Do you guys offer, this other one the kids were talking about, 2K and Madden?
Madden.
2K.
See, so some leagues will offer those particular games now.
We need to talk.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, we do. Happy.
So, okay, that's one example right there. But okay, some like Rocket League is very popular. That's in HSL, the other leagues and stuff like that. Now you're looking at how much does it cost, because most of these do cost some sort of money. I mean, they can't operate out of charity. Okay, they can't. So you're paying for a platform, pretty much is what it is. So how much can you afford? And also, this is some of the meta stuff right here. Like, what days do they play and stuff like that? I mean, if they play on Friday night when there's football and stuff, well, sorry, we're in Texas where football is king. Okay, you're not going to have players for that one. Okay, they play, Monday or Tuesday. Find what fits your schedule. Okay, based on that one. So that's the little playing phase. That's again my job. Find out what days are offered and stuff like that. We have a whole spreadsheet when a PowerPoint to the kids like, these are the games they're playing with this league right here and stuff like that. Okay. Also with like big leagues with HACL, they are across the United States. Okay, and I know you guys do it by range, like central regions and stuff like that. So you won't play someone from California, but they have a really, I'm gonna put this. They have a queue system, and I'm gonna get all technology. Pretty much all that means is if one team wants to play, another team wants to play at 5 o'clock, different time zones over that, they just get in the queue. Cool, they match up. That's it. Tell your people that's a good job with that, okay? Some of the leagues, like, you're gonna play Central Time 4:30. If you're not there in 30 minutes, you're DQ'd, okay? And you gotta think about traditional sports, right? If you play on a basketball team and the other team's not there at 7:30, that's kind of stupid, right? It's like, yeah. So that's the advantages of different leagues and stuff like that. And you gotta pick and choose what is good for you and your kids. Don't just like say, we're gonna play this and you're done, okay? So, hopefully that helps you out, okay? Cost and time and games offered, right?
One other thing I would say about the game selection is, particularly for high school, is the college pipeline. Colleges don't recruit for every game, so if that's what you're wanting to look at, don't put them in, don't say, oh, we have a huge group of kids that wants to play Paladins or Smite or something, because not a lot of colleges recruit for that.
And our local
But Rocket League is,
Rocket League will be recruited by every college, right? For
Do you have
sure.
any colleges, and like what college right now recruiting Rocket League?
Okay, I can do Rocket League, okay, I have an actual example, okay? One of my kids got recruited by Kansas Wesleyan University to play Overwatch. He got $10,000 scholarship.
WSU Tech in Wichita, which is our local tech college, is doing, what, $100,000 in scholarships this year for esports team, a community college.
In 20 years at the alternative school, we had 2 college recruiting visits, both for esports. Because they cannot give their scholarships away.
They have scholarship money just sitting there.
Seriously.
Yeah.
So, question.
For shame.
I know. I'm still eligible. I thought about it.
That last conversation you just had, you kept saying a acronym, 4 or 5 letters, and pointed to him.
The HSCL.
HSCL,
What
High
is
School
that?
Esports League.
High school
Esports League. I'm sorry.
And you guys
We don't want to talk. Yes, we were there.
Yeah.
But we don't want to talk. We're not trying to.
I understand that.
You're really good at it,
You're doing
I
great.
want to understand what that is and how that works.
So it's a tournament platform where we offer the games so that you can queue and.
So my school would sign up with you in order to play the game
Yes.
competitively.
Well,
In order
you were
to-
from Missouri,
Yeah.
so he would go through MOSEF first, right?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, you would go through MOSEF first. Through them would be through HSCL.
Yeah.
Okay, for the people in the room who are kind of like confused on what happened, why there are these platforms like that. Okay. How can I play with your school? Do I call you up and hey coach, you want to play? You want to challenge me right now? Okay. Think about your traditional sports, right? Usually when traditional sports, you have your group, your area, your district, whatever it is, right? They all talk about some of that. What these folks are offering is a platform so that way you sign up and they match you with another school. That was the whole thing. They match you with another school, and they have a little more advanced system right here. So we'll match up with another school, we'll play, and it's an honor system. It really is an honor system, how we report scores and stuff like that. If there's any kind of cheating, tell your people it's good. If there's any kind of cheating, bad behavior, good job on that one. We just escalate it and say, hey, this other team was, bad behavior, cheating, wrong score, that kind of thing. Okay. So essentially, these companies are making sure that we get matched up and we play fairly, and then they offer, playoffs and then championships and stuff like that.
We're eliminating you from participating in spreadsheet hell, like keeping track
Yes.
of all that,
Okay.
running your own league.
And when you do it through MOSEF, you'll be doing it all through the state of Missouri.
So why do I, okay, so most of, just because I'm from Missouri, whereas
Yes.
they're nationwide.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Our company's actually based in Missouri, that just happens to be a coincidence.
Does each state have their own, does each state have?
Not,
their
they,
own sport?
Not
there's no
yet.
guarantee to that, but there is a group that we're also associated with. It's an interstate group. It's ISEA Esports. So if you'll go to that website, there are several states that are in that. ISEAesports.org, I believe. You can go to that one at the bottom, and you'll see lots of them. Texas is one of them. That's us for Texas. And like you mentioned before, they do offer a lot of games, but our organization, which helps coordinate and schedule games, we have 2 series in the fall. The first series is just two games. And then we have another series that is 2 other games. But that also gives you time to practice and get ready for a particular game. And then we've got another 2 different series in the spring.
Because what's happening right now is that it's new enough where there's some states that don't have enough teams to compete in the Rocket League. And so we're encouraging states that have enough players, go through your local organizations because you want to be with your state. That's what's fun about competition is I want to compete against Maize High School. I want to compete against, and that's what the state organizations are doing now is they're organizing and then the larger leagues should be supporting your state organizations because that's creating this healthy ecosystem. It's not like that in every state right now because every state isn't as, it's just like he's in year 5. Don't start with 120, don't start there. So some states are going to be, but it's coming.
Yeah, it sounded like Virginia doesn't have, I looked at y'all,
Yeah.
Virginia is not a member of yours.
Yet.
What state are you from?
Ohio.
Ohio.
Ohio might have one. I think Ohio has a.
I think Ohio.
I think I saw Ohio up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know Indiana, Illinois,
A lot of the Midwest, a lot of the
New
Midwest.
Jersey is in there.
You live in the East Coast.
Sir, you had a
Sorry.
question?
Well, you use an acronym, I see it now, most of, I was trying to figure out what that was, but I got it.
To kind of help you out, because I can see there's some glazing eyes on this. I really do see here, like, my goodness, this is so much right here, okay?
It is.
You ever said that there's a national kind of thing right here? That's what HSE, High School Esports League, they encompass everyone. There's also Play BS, the opponents of these. Can I say that? Yeah, okay. Oh,
We're not here to see you sell you, we're here to support you all.
they're supportive. No. They're big, okay? Now, I'm gonna use this as an example. I'm sorry for like putting them on text somewhere. I have a team that plays Overwatch, okay? We participated in local tournaments, stuff like that, okay? There's not a lot of Overwatch teams in the state of Texas, okay? I think remember how many there were probably? Maybe 8, maybe less, okay?
16 total probably.
Probably, okay? I'm trying to say this as gently as possible. My kids eliminated every single team, okay? Every single one of them. And they're like, Mr. Vo, this is too easy for us. I'm like, what the heck means too easy? So, guess where you find your competition now? What do you look for?
Just you in the national level.
You try to find someone else better, right? We found people better in their league. Top, yeah, and we're like, you guys lost. Huh? Not so good anymore. No, I'm not but no, they need that challenge, because once you're good in your area, like I said, it's no different than any kind of like traditional sports. You beat your own level, and you move out, stuff like that. So we expanded. We try to look for other schools. We found one in California. We found some in Illinois, stuff like that. Like now we're getting to where we need to be and stuff like that. You need to start losing so that way you know what to do, stuff like that. And that's how your players get better. They don't get better by winning, right? They get better by understanding what their flaws are. So if you have a small organization, okay, cool, start small. I'm going to go with it, start small, okay? See what you get with coverage like. If you're ready with big leagues, and find other people from across state lines, please do so. Because I promise you, I tell all my teams this, there's someone better than you right now. Okay? You're not that good. You're not that good. Okay?
And last fall, TechStuff actually got invited to an international competition. So that's where there were schools from all over the planet that got in one big competition. It was awesome. That game was Rocket League, by the way.
Do you need any special equipment to start all this, or is it just?
To start?
If you have a decent CTE lab, that's probably going to be good enough.
Like just desks and chair, I mean, I don't know what you mean by decent CTE.
Computer lab.
Yeah, computer lab.
Computer lab.
Yeah, Rocket League doesn't require a whole lot of horsepower to play, so you can play it on pretty older, some older.
You have like a graphic design program or engineering program, those computers will run
Yeah.
Most modern computers can run these games. Okay, these PC games, I'm always for more specific PC games. But your gamers are gonna be so like, is there a 1080 in there minimum? I'm like, no, it's running off a toaster, guys. No, like there's
That's
one
a piece
game.
of hardware inside the computer.
Yeah.
You need like these big monster chairs.
That's-
No, no, no.
No.
Dude, I make them sit in this right here, like you could sit on the floor, have fun. Okay. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. But, you know, if you have I don't know what your equipment's like, but if it can run most modern computers can run a lot of games, but if your kids get like this monitor's not good enough for that, then my kids use their own. They love their personal rigs. They love their personal rigs. They're like they built it and they have their RGB and like they are really adamant about their peripherals, headsets and stuff like that. So, but to get on with a question like that, do you need any special equipment? No. There's nothing special that they need. They just need keyboard, mouse, headset, computer, monitor. That's it. And then the complaints come in.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not. So my kids, because we're at middle school and we don't have we don't have any equipment, and we won't have any equipment until like this coming year. We acquire this equipment because when you start doing stuff, and then I started writing grants, and like people started looking and they started giving us stuff. But what we started off with was just what they had. So my kids brought their Xbox to school, and and played on my giant monitor, and they do split screen and all that stuff. What I did is they go home and we set a time and they will sign on. They will be up there. I will be monitoring them, it's like if they have any problem. So you can work with. They will have equipment. They have the Switch. They have an Xbox. They have a computer. They have the equipment. It's just they need someone to facilitate. They need someone to organize, and they need someone to tell them when to show up for these matches and where to go and all that stuff. They just need someone to facilitate the tournament. Get them competing. They have all the equipment.
Now, are you guys all, do you do this through a class or are you through a club?
Right now it's a club. I teach esports, but this is like the first year my district and my school is offering it. But all of these are just clubs.
You want my honest answer to this one? Okay, we are literally a rogue club. We're following a club. Okay. Okay. No, I understand what you're asking. Is it through an esports class? Our district is trying to do esports classes and with that. It will be a non-credit bearing, so it doesn't go towards their graduation with that. So it's just there and stuff like that. It isn't always an after-school organization. Parents are on computer science stuff.
I have a question.
Nope, no questions.
Can I answer? Sure. I'm a teacher at XYZ school. How do I convince my administrator to do this esports thing?
Just do it.
It's super easy. I just asked mine and she said yes.
Yeah. What are some strategies or magical words that you could say to convince an administrator who...
She told you the number one word.
Increase attendance.
Increase attendance, that's the number one word.
Engagement, attendance. We have a group of students. Look at your discipline records and look at that group of students, because there's going to be about 10% of your school that's sitting over here and it's causing all your problems. And ask those kids, survey those kids if they would like to play video games. Because the reason that they're causing trouble in your classes is because they hate school. And if you can, what's their why in school? And if you can find a why for them, not only will you be their favorite teacher, but those kids are going to start attending school more and their behavior is going to get better because you can dangle that carrot. My favorite kids in traditional school were always kids that were athletes. Why? Because if I had problems with that kid, I would go to the coach and I would say, Jenny is causing problems in my class, can you help me out? And Jenny would stop causing problems in my class. Same thing right here. And then the other thing is that we're seeing is kids are struggling mentally with their mental health right now. They need a place to belong. And so my biggest thing is we've got a group of students at our school who have no place to belong. I've looked at your discipline record, or discipline, and it seems to be that same group of students. I would like to provide an opportunity for those kids. Man, in that there you go. And then he's like, okay. We've got the equipment, we've got and then the other thing is to talk about is funding. You all have ESSER funds, E-S-S-E-R. It's called ESSER funds. It's COVID money. Every school, every district, every school has been allocated that money. It's not a grant or anything. ESSER money can be used for technology, summer school programs, at-risk kids. this hits all three of those.
And when you make your presentation, bring the kids with you.
Yes, sir.
So do you pay your coaches a stipend?
Like I told you, okay, I can answer that one. So I've asked my CT director to give us a stipend for something and stuff like that. Some programs actually do pay them. Dallas ISD, which is big over here, actually put millions of dollars to, build their program and pay their coaches. And this is all depending on where you're at. Like there, I asked for a stipend, it's not much, it's $500, and I have to split it amongst. Actually, I didn't split it for myself. I said, here's, to my other coaches with that, and here's a gift card for Amazon. Have fun. But yeah, that's an admin question right there. Who's doing payroll and how much?
Please pay your coaches.
Please.
That's
Can't pay my mortgage on hoops and dreams. Part.
You are gonna burn, is what we're seeing, because we had to start, like Mike started 7 years ago.
Yeah, I did the sports coaching for 4 years and got a stipend the 5th year. But that was just because we had to prove it out. But in Wichita, a big school district in Kansas, they now pay all of their coaches a stipend. So.
And we're talking, they pay $4,500 a year.
For one.
Because you're gonna burn them out.
Yeah.
Teachers are already burned out. Like I will fight for that for your esports coaches because they're dealing with your most high-risk kids and these people are burned out. Stop asking your teachers to do things for free because we can't make this better, but we can freaking pay them. And there's money. There is money.
To give this comparison to kind of, if they're not knowledgeable of esports, it's probably either they're the band teacher, or they're the track coach. Because they're managing over all of those sports, but they don't pick into any of them. They're just over all of those people. So that's kind of the best analogy.
Please pay people.
You want to go back to the previous question about what you said about, why you should esports and stuff like that? I'm going to go back to one question. I'm sorry about that. Okay. You had an excellent answer on why you should esports and stuff like that. Okay. Unfortunately, I have a different way of looking at it. Okay. And this is how I worked it. Okay. And I'm going to say these words very carefully. Do you want our school to look good? Okay, then. That's all it is. That's really what it was, okay? And this is true here, okay? I work in a district with 4 high schools. 4 high schools. How many of them have esports? How many of them have won national championships? How many of them look good on Twitter, all the news and stuff like that? 1. I happen to work at the flagship high school in Richardson, Texas. And that's how I told the admin, I said, like, I work magic, okay? So let me do what I do, and then you can find me later on if it doesn't work out. Fine, okay? Admins, I'm done. A little tip for admins right here. Okay, if you want to, you can ride the coattails all you want to. So that was my idea too, okay? But no, support teacher did like, that was my idea. Yeah. Okay? But yeah, that's really why I personally did it. Because I want our school to look good. I want our kids to look good. I want them to represent our school in something they probably wouldn't do. I mean, like I said, in Texas, football is king. But not everyone in our school can play football, basketball. It's like, guess what? Now you got something else that can represent the school. And Richardson High School is very, very proud of what they have accomplished. So in fact, we're about to start a cycling club, a bicycling club. And guess who got roped into that? Sorry.
I do want to add that Michael, when he started his club 6 years ago, it was like in the infancy, you had a very special approach to that, right? To get the esports started.
Yeah.
Because you were in an environment where the culture fostered it. So I think culture is also another thing we should think about is like, does your school have the culture?
And we wrote 40 grants to get our lab funded. That's our lab right there. We wrote grants to get all of our funding for the lab.
So that took years.
Oh yeah. So
Walmart.
We
started with Walmart.
Yeah, Walmart just tip. You can write a grant to a local Walmart store, and they can approve up to $500 at the manager level without any other approval.
Every store.
Every store around you. So.
Yeah, but then when you first started,
that's what we did.
What was you had the opportunity because you had the passion project.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah.
So talk about that.
Yeah. Well, we have teacher passion projects at our school. Kristy was the principal there, and so we had a general store in a retirement community. We had a community garden. We had a fishing club. We had all kinds of things, but when she interviewed me, she asked me what my passion was, and I said video games shyly because I wasn't sure how that was going to go. I had never been. So
Middle-aged woman.
I never taught before. This was my first teaching job. The only place I ever taught was here. I was in business before that, owned my own business and things, but I always wanted to teach, so I got into it. And fortunately, yes, I did have a very progressive principal, and she saw the value in it immediately, just because of her own personal experience with her kids. So yes, that helps, and I never deny that at all. I mean that if you, and as administrators, try to be supportive, because I always say if esports isn't the thing, if you need to do basket weaving or whatever the thing is for those particular set of kids to make them successful, let's do that. So find the thing that gets the kids engaged, because that's what it is, a lack of engagement.
The fun thing now, though, is now you have a program that's established, because at the time, we had no idea. We couldn't point anywhere, but you can now say, look what Richardson, look what Richardson High School has done, you know? Because now,
And
pretty close.
I have business cards somewhere around here.
Well, and the other thing is I will say this too, esports, like you said, it is a community. I've been in education a long time. I don't think I've met a community of people that have been more willing to donate their time to other people and to other schools and to help get something off the ground. It is absolutely people in esports, because a lot of them, and I can't speak for you, they hated school. There was nothing in school for these people, and I guess I can speak for Mike. Mike did not like school. And the challenge with educators is many of us got involved in school because we had great experiences in school. And so those that didn't, they get this and they're so willing to help you. I mean, we've just been blessed.
And we've had time to gather a lot of data, and if you need data like that, all of us can probably provide those resources.
Well, when I send out the email packet, we'll include everyone's resources so that you'll have this massive dump of information.
Yeah.
A big old dump.
Go to the KPKP.com and you'll get all that.
And I know a lot of you also said, oh, I wanted to get the gamer session too. Like, yeah, go ahead, I'll send that information to you too. Yeah, so any other questions? You had more questions?
I see your jersey. Do y'all do stuff together with schools, or do you always do it at your school electronically against other schools?
Okay, so your question is, do we play in person as a team at the school versus a team where they play at home? Am I correct on that one?
Yeah.
Okay, so since COVID hit, we let the kids play at home and stuff like that. Okay, with them play on their own rigs and stuff like that, they'll match up. And that's how online gaming always is. It has been. You play your own home and you don't have to meet somewhere and stuff like that. Some of my kids do actually choose to go to our computer lab and play. And there are some schools, I'm going to speak on behalf of a lot of schools, they will say you should play in our lab and stuff like that. Because playing with 4 other players or 5 other players on the same row is a different experience than when you're all in Discord and stuff like that. They do have communication. They communicate on Discord or in game chat and stuff like that. But yeah, I have teams that will prefer to play. They want to see each other, talk to each other, that real-time stuff, and some kids just want to play at home. And we are. In the past few months, we were gearing up for an in-person tournament. I actually told the kids, you need to start practicing more in person, because there's a different dynamic of having your player next to you and talking. So it depends if you have a structure for that. The reason why some of my players don't play at school is because, as I said already, the computers aren't that great. Okay, and some of them will be okay with what it is. So
they may not have enough computers for all the kids.
Yeah.
We always had our kids play in person. But in going to an actual live in-person event, the whole deal didn't game changer. Like, the kids were on the stage, they were like awesome, they were the superstars of the show. So any chance you can do a live event, please do it.
Yeah.
But if
you're here in Texas, we're going to have 2 of them.
Yeah.
Especially for your parents.
The parents get to come watch the kids, it's awesome.
A little asterisk on this one. Is anyone familiar with Super Smash Brothers? Are you familiar with that game, sir? It's a 1v1 fighting game.
Yep.
Okay, so it's a 1v1 fighting game with like Mario Kart, Nintendo characters, stuff like that. They actually have an online version of it. Well, you can play online. Kids hate it. They call it Wi-Fi. It's a Wi-Fi tournament because there's lag, huge lag, and frame rates drop and stuff like that. Like, it's a whole terminology called Wi-Fi warrior. Anyways, they prefer to play that in person because you have right next to you, and when you're playing stuff like that, you can say, you suck. No.
We do not coach that.
Very
We're
toxic.
trying
Very
to coach
toxic.
that problem.
Sorry, don't do it. That's on camera. But anyway.
We saw you going
does that person, they play next to each other. No, they're not that toxic. They actually do like fist bump and stuff like that, but the crowd like also likes to watch and stuff like that. That's the only game I would say that it's much better in person, like way better. Okay.
Yeah, and speaking of toxic, which we don't have time to talk about, there are strategies to deal with that as well, because when you're gaming, there is some toxicity that's happened, and this is your opportunity to correct that action as well, and to make them more professional. Because when you think about going into the esports leagues, you need to be, it's like you're a business. You're a business, you're representing the school, you're representing the league, you're representing the game, so then this is an opportunity to say, hey, don't be like that.
It's teachable moments. It's
Absolutely.
the real-time teachable moment. That's when you train kids to not write, "You're a crappy person" in chat. It's when they're gonna write, "You're a crappy person," because you can say, "Don't say that," or "This is appropriate response."
We sent it to them. We actually, we screenshot and sent it to HSL and said, hey, this is a toxic behavior and stuff like that. They do acronyms, and you have to find out what those acronyms are. So.
Absolutely. Any other questions? We have, this has been a great session, everybody. Did you guys enjoy it?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Great.
I know, so this is better than death by PowerPoint, right?
Yeah.
Much more fun.
So I'm gonna
Yeah.
sorry.
Okay. No, actually, yeah, you haven't asked any questions.
Well, I did earlier, but whatever.
Oh, yeah.
So, I know you don't want to be salesman, and I totally understand that, but you seem to be Generation Esports and this other thing, and
There are
Okay.
umbrella.
so,
Yeah.
so wait, who's under, wait.
So Generation Esports is the parent company.
Okay,
High school esports league, middle school esports league, gaming concepts, we have our college league. All those fall under Generation Esports. This lab is actually from our school when we were teachers last year.
and then
We
they
just
also
started in
have
August.
curriculum to do.
Yes, gaming concepts is our curriculum.
Okay.
That's where we live.
Four credit.
Yeah, 4 credit.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's what I was going to ask about. Okay, how do you tie this into the 8 o'clock to 3 o'clock school day in there?
Sure, I can answer that one. We don't. Okay. Wait, so we don't. Okay, I can't say it.
I mean, it's like sports after
yeah.
school.
Exactly. So.
This is an extracurricular.
Yeah, it's an extracurricular. Currently, right now, we're extracurricular. We're after school and stuff like that. We do have a middle school in our district that has put made a class for it and stuff like that. They actually have practices like that, but it is a non-credit bearing course, so they don't. It doesn't count towards anything pretty much. It's just like opposite or something like that. Okay. Our school has tried to put it on there as a course and stuff like that. That's just us, jumping the hoops and stuff like that. But currently right now, we keep it after school as extracurricular, no different than like. I don't want to say football because football is during the school day and stuff like that, but we just make it extra. It's a little bit easier for us to work with instead of having to sign up kids for it.
And we wrote curriculum for it.
We taught it during the school day. Like we.
That's
have-
how we started
That's
at
how
our
we
school.
started at our school.
That you can get.
Are there any other questions?
Yeah, question.
Yeah, so is this like a year-round thing because of the season, like is it fall, spring? Because I imagine you go year-round to get burnt out.
It's year long. Like we have a winter. Did you guys do winter season still?
And we do not do winter, so
Oh.
we do fall and spring.
Yeah, fall and
Then
same
we do
for
the
us.
summer open.
We-
Summer.
So
We don't do winter open.
yeah, we do a fall. They do a fall. Okay, most of these leagues do a fall, and it's only like maybe a couple months. So we do like weeks.
It's about 8 weeks.
8 weeks. Okay. Wintertime, we don't. Wasn't there a winter?
We used to do a winter open, but it's just too crammed
Okay.
between fall and spring.
Yeah. Downtime between the winter time, they pick back up around February. Yeah, February. That's your spring season, and then there's, summer's off. But they used to do summer leagues and some of that. Usually we give these kids like the winter and the summertime to kind of like to decompress because they go hard on fall and spring. I mean, it's dedicated.
We try to make it so that, since our league's national, and we have a lot of national competition, we have to make it so we try to hit everybody's school schedule so that they're not on spring break here and they're playing somebody who's not on spring break or something like that.
We're from Ohio, and like
Yeah.
Ohio, we don't go outside in winter, so you're perfect.
Right, yeah, well.
But that doesn't mean that you can't do something on your own.
Why does it know like the HSEL, or the acronym?
Yeah.
If they ran year round, is there competition year round, or is it only for certain seasons?
Fall and spring is and then we have a summer open that kids, anybody can enter. But the fall and spring, we verify the student belongs at the school. There's a verification process, so we make sure there's real kids that are playing, not a 22-year-old college kid who they're like, oh, they're on our team, we're gonna win every match. So, we want to we verify all of that, so when we work with the schools, but in the summer open, we don't.
Okay.
More likely to be a 10-year-old saying.
You're right. It's probably a 12-year-old kid.
It's too old.
Another question over here. Let's keep going.
So like you have your esports and then you have, your
regular sports that everyone's familiar with. So do you see participation from kids from those sports coming
Yep.
into, and how is that, is it like, okay, I'm gonna play a fall sport and then in the spring I'm gonna make e-sporter? And
Sure.
how does that,
That's what I have.
continue
Can
there?
they do too?
You're gonna have a lot of mad football coaches, probably.
Okay. So this is where we're fighting. Since we're an organization and we're not official and stuff like that, their sports actually express it. But these kids are, most of my kids, okay, all my kids are responsible for what they gotta take care of, okay? One of my players is a goalie for soccer. Obviously, if he's not there, there's no goalie, okay? So he knows, and we schedule around him and stuff like that. Most of these games don't conflict with their sports and stuff like that. They really don't. And if we do have if by chance we do have a we have subs. That's the purpose of or we don't call them bench warmers, because they're subs, okay?
And also, like in most tournament matches.
Daily, weekly?
Sorry?
Weekly, one game a week, one game a week.
And so, yeah, weekly, and then and then we usually schedule, like, Rocket League will be played like 3 or 4 times a week, different times. So when you have something like that where the soccer player can't make it, they can do a different night to make it up. So.
We're on multiple leagues, which
Yeah.
means we can play up to 3 times a week. Okay, we try to do 4 because it's a little bit too much like that, because we have to do bond reviews and stuff like that. Well, just coaching and stuff like that. Again, with the concept of, like, is there conflict? We got subs, and so, like, who can make it, That's the job of my team captains. They're responsible for making sure the players show up.
Yeah, that's when you teach them time management, right? If you want to do all these things, can you do all these things? Is there a conflict between your schedule before, like, band or sports or, even academics, or other after-school activities that you want to do? I had a kid who was a soccer player, and he would schedule every match so that it wouldn't conflict with his soccer schedule. And when he couldn't, he talked to me, and sometimes there's one time where I think he got hurt after playing soccer, and he messaged me. He's like, I'm a doctor, I can't do this. Is there something you can do? So I messaged, like, the other coach, and I told him what's going on. We were able to rearrange the match so that he can, play next week. So yeah, but it's up to your kids, what they want to do and how they can manage their schedule so like it fits what they wanted to do. So.
Okay. Any other questions? Because we are over time, but I see you guys are passionate. You guys want to be here, so we'll be here to answer any questions if you want, or if you guys are thinking you're done, then give these people a round of applause. And we will be around to answer additional questions if you have any as well. We're going to be hanging out at the arena area as well, so that'll be a great place to hit us up. Otherwise, we're going to get that information dumped to you in the next week once I gather everyone's information. There's a lot of great resources out there, and they're a great resource as well, so we're going to include their contact information so that you can contact them and say, hey, Henry, Tell my principal that I need to do this.
That's not my job.
Okay.
We have done that hundreds of times, so we're happy to help.
I'm here until 2:30. If you stop me in the parking garage, I'm driving off now.
We're here.
Yeah,
at
we're in this
2:30.
room
We
at 2:30.
presented.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They're
And I've got, if you want information, this is the easy way to get a hold of us. 'Cause
What are
if
you
want
talking
to-
to 30?
Huh? It's actually on mental health, esports and mental health. Is
So-
it 2:30?
a very informative session specifically about mental
Well,
health.
that's one. Where's the arena?
Out the door, turn left, and then you'll see it. So turn left and then turn right. It's the back corner of the exhibit.
Yeah. I know doing
All right, thank you so much for coming. We are so happy that you're here, and we will get esports programs spread out everywhere.
Very nice to meet you.
Nice. You do
Nice to see you.
make stand good words.
Well, but it's typical though, because I don't like it. Yeah, I don't like it.
Well, my principal is behind it, so I actually